You're not going to get flowers, don't worry. You get paid. Okay.
The ship worked really hard on a retail theft that occurred. They were able to obtain description of the offenders and vehicle information. A short time later, a foot pursuit was started, chasing the subject as he exited the store. And this team worked diligently throughout the incident to make sure that all the information was provided. Several shots had been fired. The vehicle was finally stopped, and they worked really close to make sure everyone did a great job and got the situation resolved. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, everybody look up here again. Everybody up here? Okay. Once more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kim, let me get one with you, and you aren't in that picture. Okay. Once more. Okay.
Good job.
Yes, she's got one more.
And the third team we're recognizing today is also from Romeoville, is Melissa Muska, Gemma Torres, Kaylee Knitsky, I'm going to get it. We're going to say Kaylee's name quite a bit today, and Rachel McGonigal. Are they here?
It's like Kelly's.
Hmm?
It's like Kelly's. Just a little late. Thanks.
Just in time.
The team just had one of those typical bad days in the PSAP, and they really did a great job handling, at one point, over 30 calls, trying to work with 8 subjects in custody, fleeing, eluding, aggravated DUI, criminal damage to property ×2, aggravated battery, police officer, resisting arrest and consumption of alcohol by a minor, all involved in this incident. So they were busy, and they helped to a tremendous extent to the police department. I thanked them and submitted their names. So good job, team.
I don't know. Should we leave? Just stand
In the
up.
middle of one.
Oh, okay. Same as mine. Oh, thanks.
She's had one.
Kim, you want to get...
It's her first award. She's nervous.
Okay, yeah, look up this way. Smiles. Steve, the Blackhawks won last night.
Yes, they
Yeah, they just
Okay.
Thank you.
So the last and the most important awards we want to give out are recognition for our Telecommunicator of the Year awards. We had 4 nominees from 3 PSAPs, And we'd like to acknowledge all of them. We're going to start first, Steve.
Let's start with Kelly Konechny from Romeoville. Village of Romeoville is pleased to nominate Kelly Konechny for 2014 Will County Telecommunicator of the Year. Member of the Romeoville PSAP since 2007, she began her career as a part-time telecommunicator and assisted transition into a full-time position. She's also assumed a role as telecommunications training officer. She's being nominated for this award based on her optimism to always find the good in the bad and her motivation to continuously pursue new and innovative ways to train and perform job-related tasks. She displays a strong personal and professional commitment to public safety, is extremely reliable and willing to pitch in whenever needed. Her daily performance reflects the professionalism and respect she has for the public safety profession and the citizens that we serve. Kelly is the driving force behind the development and implementation of a Romeoville PSAP Pub Ed team. Her trainees describe her as patient, compassionate, thorough, knowledgeable, and is encouraging, and they enjoy her good sense of humor. She has exceptional organizational skill and encourages all her trainees to model her organizational behaviors. Congratulations on being nominated.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
You want a picture too? Oh, you got a picture up there, sure.
All right.
Okay. Steve? One more.
Thank you.
Nancy, how much time do you have? We could stop for you if you'd like, or
You can keep going.
are you sure?
Sure.
Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Second nominee today is Susan Kleitch from Joliet, who is not here with us today, but I did want to read a little bit about her. The Joliet Communications Center shift supervisor, Susan Kleitch, completed her 25th year last May. For the last 10 of those years, she's been a shift supervisor. Oh, it's okay. Shift supervisor of Joliet's afternoon shift, the busiest shift of the busiest communications center in the entire county. Joliet shift supervisors are working telecommunicators who answer 911 calls and dispatch police and fire every day that they work, often as a break person and giving relief. As a supervisor, Susan maintains a professional work environment, demonstrates incredible leadership abilities, and treats her subordinates fairly. She was one of the founding members of the CTO team and of the 911 public education team in Joliet and our Joliet TERT team. She was also one of the earliest members of the Joliet Police Department Special Olympics Committee. She is bilingual and often translates for Spanish-speaking callers. Additionally, she's our local jurisdiction expert dealing with the city's planning department for all the latest information. While she has a heavy workload of responsibilities that she accomplishes expertly, she also has many talents that are evident to all who work with her. Her charisma and charm have made her many a busy, overworked shift go much smoother. So we congratulate her for being here.
And the two that I have are from Westcom, and the first one is Kathy Craven. What makes a great telecommunicator? A person who is positive, driven, compassionate, empathetic, organized, calm, a leader, a teacher, and most importantly, a listener. Without a doubt, Westcom's telecommunicator Kathy Craven embodies all of these characteristics. Kathy's been a Westcom team member since July of 2012. Before becoming a telecommunicator, Kathy worked in a domestic violence unit for Will County. That previous job experience really shines in Kathy's calling style. She's very compassionate, knows how to handle the many different situations that are called into the 911 center. Kathy has excelled at Westcom. She completed our rigorous training program in about half the time that others finish it. She then eagerly enrolled in the CTO class to become a certified training officer. Kathy is now extremely active in Westcom's training program, constantly brainstorming new ideas not only to improve trainees' experience, but also the success of the trainers. Kathy brings a positive attitude and outlook on life that is positively infectious in the center. It's difficult not to smile when she is around. Whether Kathy is talking to a citizen, an officer, or both at the same time, she has the ability to make each feel as if they're the most important person at that moment. She embodies the same calm demeanor while dispatching an armed robbery as she does for dispatching a lockout. This sense of calm gives officers the reassurance that they are in protective and capable hands. Once again, we go back to what makes a great telecommunicator, and as you've heard, Kathy holds all of them. It's because of all these reasons that we nominate Kathy Craven for 2014 Will County Telecommunicator Year, respectfully Supervisor Tiffany Kuzinka, Supervisor Janice Savage, and Supervisor Eric Sumner.
Happy birthday today, too.
Come on in here.
There we go.
Steve sandwich, thank you.
Okay. Big smile. Once more. One more from me. Okay.
Thank you.
You're getting your photos, okay?
Except for Steve.
So our last nominee for Telecommunicator of the Year is obviously been chosen to be Telecommunicator of the Year for 2014 for Will County 911. It was an extremely hard decision. The Personnel Committee went over all of the applications and debated and talked, and everyone was justified to have that acceptance and that nomination, but we can only have one. So, Jacob, are you here? Everyone, this is Jacob Bluth. Jacob has been a Westcom telecommunicator since August of 2009, an Oak Park firefighter since 2003, and served in the U.S. Marine Reserves for 6 years. He's a devoted husband and a father of 4. Jacob has so many positive attributes that he brings to Westcom that we feel compelled to nominate him for the Will County Telecommunicator of the Year 2014. Jacob consistently goes above and beyond his daily duties as a telecommunicator. He is passionate about what he does, and he's always willing, and he always participating in what may happen next. Whether he's handling an intense phone call or working a box alarm, his calm and rational demeanor gives comfort to callers, his co-workers, and the security to responding units. On occasion, I wish Jacob was here, can be heard in the dispatch center during major incidents. Over the past few months, Westcom has made substantial radio system upgrades, which required many changes to the fire agency's pagers, station alerts, and the like. Jacob was a huge help to the agencies by visiting each one and giving a hand in the reprogramming of equipment, much of what was done on his own time. Not only does Jacob help with the radios, but he can be found attending meetings with agency chiefs and Westcom supervisors to help keep an open line of communication between telecommunicators and management. This helps them create and or enhance procedures that improve Westcom as a whole, which has improved the overall dispatch service that Westcom is able to provide to its agencies. Another program that Jacob headed up this past year was Westcom 101 for fire agencies. Jacob noticed that some of the field personnel did not really have a handle on what happens at the dispatch center. He put together a PowerPoint presentation and visited the fire agencies to show what a telecommunicator goes through when a large incident occurs. Jacob has also been heavily involved in our training program. He started a short program that we now term as Fire Dispatch Boot Camp. Jacob will dedicate several shifts to prepare the training for multiple and larger scale incidents. Jacob uses simple role playing in a big way by creating many scenarios in which the training must anticipate what the next step will be in an incident and how to handle each step. This has been proven to be an effective procedure to develop exceptional telecommunicators. After the boot camp, trainees look up to Jacob as a mentor, which helps to ease the transition from training status to a knowledgeable, dependable telecommunicator partner. Wikipedia describes leadership as a process of social influence in which one person can enlist the aid and support of others in the accomplishment of a common task. Jacob Bloat is the well-respected leader, day in and day out, in every situation Jacob encounters. He handles it with logic and control. His commitment to Westcom and the citizens of Will County and the agencies who serve them is undeniable. We would be honored to have him recognized as the 2014 Will County Telecommunicator of the Year. Sincerely, Supervisor Eric Somner, Supervisor Janice Savage, and Supervisor Tiffany Kuzinka.
Once
I'm
again,
not very photogenic.
and once again. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Nancy, I think we're going to do the swearing in next. We've got a couple more short items to do, and then we're going to take a break for the cupcakes and stuff, but we want to take advantage of Nancy's few moments free here and get the board members sworn in. That needs to be.
How are you?
Gotta be able to see. Okay, whoever's gonna, is everybody getting sworn in, Steve?
No, it's just
Okay,
two of us.
okay, so whoever's getting sworn in, if they would come stand in front of me, please.
Carol Damron, Nick Palmer, Billy Von Stoyle, Mike Shea, Andy Thurcher, and Fred Harris.
Congratulations, Senator. Congratulations.
Crowd in.
Crowd around here. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Congratulations. Okay, we're gonna do this together. Now all you have to do is, raise your right hand, and then repeat after me. After I say "I," then state your name. I have been appointed to the office of 911 Emergency Telephone System Board in the County of Will Aforesaid. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of Illinois. And the duties of the office of the member. Of the 911 Emergency Telephone System Board. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. You want two copies then? You want two? There's two of them. One for you, one for you. Here's Harold.
Oh, thanks.
Congratulations again. Oh, anytime. You want to? Happy spring. Is it spring? Oh, excuse me. Have a good one.
Great.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye, Nancy. Bye.
Thanks, Nancy.
Our next item is the election of the ETSB chair and vice chair, and I'm turning it over to our attorney for a second.
Nominations have been previously made and closed and approved, and on the schedule today would be a motion to approve of the nomination of Chairman Billy Von Stoyle and Vice Chairman Steve Rauter. If somebody would make that motion, second, and then voice vote.
Second, Thuringer.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you very much. What do you think?
It was a 4-year term, correct?
Yes, we're going to do one more item and then we'll take our break. We would like to recognize 2 ETSB members this morning for whom this is their last meeting.
So we have 2 board members are leaving us. Mary Jo Seehausen from Stager. Is Mary Jo here? Steve took her plaque. How many years?
4 years.
4 years? On the board.
It's pretty.
Mary Jo's been the PSAP director at Steger, doing a great job, struggling with the smallest PSAP we have in the county, trying to make it work as well as the largest PSAP in the county, and doing everything it takes to keep it functioning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They made a decision in Steger to consolidate into EastCom earlier this year. It took effect on April 1st, and so that's been done, and EastCom is handling all of Steger's agencies, Steger Police and Fire, South Chicago Heights Police and Fire, and Steger State's Fire Protection District. So again, our board rules indicate that when you're no longer a PSAP director, then you're removed from the board, and that position is also removed from the board. So we're going from 17 members to 16 members. But we want to recognize Mary Jo for all the work she's done for us and continues to do. She'll still be with the Steger Police Department, so she'll be in touch, and we just appreciate all of the things that she's done for us. The next person leaving the board has decided to retire.
Lucky dog.
A lot of us, I think you're extremely lucky. Joe's done a tremendous amount of work. I've had the privilege of knowing Joe on and off throughout my career. When I was the fire chief in Barrington, he was police chief in a neighboring community. And it seems like as we move south, he moves south, and we've had the opportunity to work again, and it's always enjoyable and it's always favorable. Joe has done an awful lot of work behind the scenes, especially with the building committee for Westcom, and getting all of that financing and all of that in place. Tremendous amount of hours and time, and so we want to thank Joe for his time on the board. Joe represents the Will County Chief of Police Association, and they have made an appointment, and it's going through the county board process, and we'll have that person sworn in our June meeting. Joe, thanks so much. You take care and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the recipients this morning. We had an awful lot of people with milestones and a lot of really good calls that we reviewed this morning, and it just goes to show how strong Will County 911 is. Each of our PSAPs is strong. All of our dispatchers are strong. I'm very proud to work here and be a part of all of you. Congratulations to all the recipients. Be back in 10-2,
The technology committee met. They received a presentation from Roger Swenson and Rusty Winchell from Northern Illinois University. If you recall, those two guys, Rusty Mellon helping us put together a VTOP grant application a few years back for fiber connectivity. We didn't get the grant that went out towards Winnebago County, but they did an awful lot of legwork for us. They've been working with the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association on their fiber connectivity, and that project is coming to an end. And we've been looking on a regional basis of how we could bring fiber into Will County, not only for 911 but for other purposes. They've been meeting with the city of Joliet to talk about fiber downtown, especially with all the road construction and changes that are taking place. 911 has an interest in the city of Joliet, fiber connectivity between the county office building here and the PSAP at the police station. Since we're talking with Joliet, they've also been talking with Will County, so they've been talking to Mike Shea about what the county needs are and where they could go. And then we've been talking to them about 911 and our PSAPs and our regional connectivity with other PSAPs in our neighboring counties. So it's been an ongoing discussion. They gave a presentation, an update of where the projects are right now and what the future could be as far in terms of fiber connectivity. We've got a big interest in connecting the Illinois Tollway and the IDOT highway cameras to the 911 PSAPs. The fire chiefs had a legislative get-together earlier this year, and Senator Hastings, I believe,
Yes.
Senator Hastings heard that, and he's taken it upon himself to further that cause. DOT's a little hesitant right now on how it's going to work, but the tollway authority's been very favorable to making it happen. So we're extremely interested in trying to get fiber connectivity from Downers Grove, from the tollway authority down to Route 6 for Silver Cross Hospital. The FCC has a grant program to connect hospitals across the country. They reimburse 65% for hospitals pulling together. So it just seems like a lot of the stars are lining up. That we need to get down 355. We need to get across from 355 to downtown Joliet. Silver Cross has an opportunity to become fiber connected to all other hospitals. So they're working on putting this all together. The intent is a meeting for May 2nd in our office at 2 in the afternoon to just kind of open the door and talk to the city of Joliet and the county and 911 and Silver Cross and see if we can paint a picture and see what happens from there. So it was a good meeting and a lot of good information was taken forward and a lot of good things are happening. Project status, Dale provided us updates on projects for the committee, and I've asked him to go ahead and do that for you today too.
For the CAD mobile record Premier 1 upgrade, we're still on target for November 4th. For most of the PSAP directors, you guys have gotten the listing of all the training that's coming up, all the meetings for configuring your status monitors, so that's ongoing. The M-Core project basically is completed. It's up and running. Both cores are up at Westcom and Eastcom. They're both talking to each other, and we have centers on the cores. Bolingbrook and Eastcom are on the cores, and they're running fine. I'll skip Westcom. I'll let Steve do that. The Motorola bundle project, we're still working on different aspects of it. Obviously, the radio consoles is part of it. As we mentioned, we tested interoperability. It was one of the key points for the new Motorola consoles and for the M-Cores. We took configurations from Eastcom and Bolingbrook and loaded them on the computer at Westcom, and you would think you were sitting at Bolingbrook or Eastcom. It works flawlessly. They can key them up, they can open the garage doors, they can set off their tones. So it works as it was designed. That literally a dispatcher can go to another center, log in as that agency, and be able to dispatch from there. The disaster recovery, again for the CAD. The cabinet's been ordered and shipped down to Hewlett-Packard in Texas. They're loading up all the equipment, and they'll be shipping it up here to Westcom so we can start having Motorola install the backup solution for our CAD system. And fiber to the PSAPs, we're on hold right now. We're going to have an RFP out in May to bring back to the board in June. And that fiber connectivity, for those that don't remember, is to connect our 3 data centers together, so the county building, Eastcom and Westcom. And that would be in case that we completely lost our ability to use the microwave, that the 3 data centers will be connected by fiber. And the CAD mobility connectivity, as we found out from Motorola, that we, to make things work as well as we'd like them to, we need a middleware to have the mobiles in the field talk to our CAD. Right now, we're looking at a product called NetMotion, and Jeremy is demoing it, testing it. We have them on our laptops and our tablets to see if they do what we want it to do. So we'll be giving back a report on that for the June meeting.
Thanks very much, Dale. We had 4 maintenance contracts that will come up from finance and equipment, and the committee just reviewed those to make sure everything was appropriate before they pass it on to F&E. The next meeting for technology will be on June 4th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Thank you very much. Moving on to long-range planning.
Did you want to, Steve, give your update?
Oh,
Just one other thing, number 5, the county radio project, Sousa Communications, working with Will County EMA, and we're going to do site planning or site visits this month and work towards an RFP for their radio replacement. So as far as Westcom goes, we're on target for late May turnover. We've got weekly meetings now every Thursday afternoon to give status reports on the various vendors to make everything work. Now, moving on to long-range planning, I'm not going to go through all the legislative stuff. I'm going to highlight some of it. First and foremost, the texting to 911 update. The FCC is trying to push this ahead, and Dale is working with our vendors. We have several moving parts. We have to make sure our CPE, or customer premise equipment, our actual phone system is up to snuff. It can take text to 911, and that's coming down the home stretch quite well. There's a few updates that need to be done there. However, we also have to work with each of the cell vendors, so to make sure that we do that, there's going to be a lot of testing. One thing that's coming out of Long Range Planning Committee is we'll probably be shifted to an operational mode because we have new definitions now. What is considered a 911 hang-up if you're in the middle of a text messaging session? There's all kinds of other operational issues that we need to go through. And in talking to folks who've implemented across the country, it may be less of an impact than we think, but it's going to be a high-risk type call when it does come in. It might be somebody hiding under a desk, someone hiding in a closet because there's a perpetrator or anything. So we'll be watching that unfold over the next few months. There's a lot to be said about legislative update, and I'm not going to go through each one of these, but I do want to highlight a few that are key, especially as they affect Will County. If you look at page 4 of the document, Senate Bill 2674, that's kind of been the lightning rod bill for a lot of our issues. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes negotiations and discussions going on with Senator Harmon and others to try to get us a turnkey, best we can do type of solution for 911, centering around the wireless fees, trying to avoid the July sunset, trying to make sure we can get as much of the 73 cents as we can. There's discussion back and forth about floating it up beyond the 73 cents. I don't think there's stomach for that right now. As far as increasing taxes, poison control is obviously a large portion of this. Poison control has shifted their focus from a public health type entity. They think they're a public safety type entity, and we disagree with their tactic to take 911 funds away for a public health function. So that's in the mix. It's all tied together, and there are some deadlines coming up on us very quickly. There's a May 1 deadline to get some of the stuff wrapped up in the legislature as a whole. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, and I know Suzanne and John might have some additional information on that one. Do you care to comment? Right ahead.
We, as you know, Will County did have a resolution in favor. And of what I very much got involved. I went down to Springfield. I talked with Senator Hudson directly with staff about what was going on. My first and foremost, was the whole thing when you were saying about with the sunset and about getting the dollars. And the one thing that I found that was really interesting of when they were allocating any of these funds, it wasn't so much of taking, where poison control were coming back, and you were saying about taking dollars from 911. This whole thing really was, the bottom line was with ICC, is how that I'm seeing this, and how others have. Senator Herman also, his big push, and I know we had talked about this, Steve, is this is just the start of getting dollars allocated for 911. This is a few cent jump, and his whole end all is going to be, where they're watching this, is going to be a 10-cent increase. There's not going to be this is taking, again, money from, how I'm gathering this from the ICC. As for poison control, the way that staff had kind of portrayed this whole thing as well to me, that was above and beyond. That was not dollars that were going to come to 911, and they're taking that 2 cents away from 911. And their whole fight. And the one thing I got to tell you I do like was the idea of when they're putting the conditions with the uniform accounting and how they're doing. I think Senator Harmon's coming at this at a very responsible rate. And the way I'm seeing is this bill is going to help 911, it's going to help poison control, it's going to help the county, it's going to help the state. This is Illinois poison control. And looking at the stats of, when the poison control did go, and I know you were saying and pushing it to safety, if they close, they say call 911. Well, they were talking, when they were looking at the numbers, and I looked at 4 different forms of numbers with poison control, and I spent hours discussing that, days on end of talking about this, and of looking at, of having 50,000 additional calls. It's just their stats. I do think this would be a hit, and Silver Cross is behind. Edwards Hospital is definitely, but they don't want inundated emergency rooms with things that could be prevented of one phone call from poison control. So yeah, and I do think, and without a doubt, my first, if this was 2 cents coming in and there would be no cents coming in 911, that would be a problem. And Will County came out and said, no, what we are supporting is the dollars coming out to 911 and as well with the poison control, because we do feel the need. And I do think that it would be an impact onto our 911 and to our, in our county and our state. So that's how we came up with the conclusion of support.
Okay, and I can appreciate everything you said. The feedback I'm getting, and I'm on the legislative committee now for Nina APCO, is that they're talking about 75 cents.
That's another bill.
I understand, but this is all part of the
This is one bill.
background
We're talking about
negotiations.
Senate Bill 2674. Senator Harmon said he is not, this is not the bill
Okay.
that he is up for raising.
Okay,
This is
good.
not going to be at all. This is going to come out of the two, we have, I think it's AT&T and Verizon that was have the excess of this. Now, I will tell you my concern, and I'm talking with others in the state, after I look at the whole state, is the downstate PSAPs. That was a concern of mine. And there's also another bill that says all of our dollars here, our tax would go down and throw a couple cents down to them. There's 4 different bills out there that have a lot of things going on. I'm taking that from 76 to $1. And that this particular bill that we are support of, the 2674, this is not in hiring that. That is a whole different one. And that's where Senator Herman, their staff is trying to figure out, again, where these dollars have been swept before of going on ICC, and where 911 has not received it. They're trying to do, this bill is just doing that. And I'm going to be back down in Springfield, and I have been watching this very strong, because this was, if you look at our resolution of our support, it was the 911. We will be watching that. We will fall off that immediately if this becomes different. And we are not support of any kind of an increase onto the cell phone bill.
Sure, and that's the message I'm carrying on our committee is that there's no stomach. And I keep impressing upon them that the Will County contingent makes up about 10% of the state legislature. So we have a bit of a voting block, and if we are being told locally that it is not to go above the 73 cents, that's our marching orders. We just want to get more of the 73 cents than what we've been getting today. The other thing about the sweeps is that since the funds have been swept over the last 3 years, we've been deemed unstable from the Federal Communications Commission. So Illinois has missed out on eligible grants to improve wireless 911. We can't put a dollar amount on that because those are competitive grants. We know we lost the ability to even apply. So that has to stop. The sweeping has to stop so that we can get federal dollars to aid us in improvements on wireless 911.
Well, and I think that's what the uniform accounting, what they're trying.
I just want to confirm, because I heard you say before, the deeming us unstable is because of the sweep?
Yes.
Or because of the dollar?
No, because of the sweep.
Just because they're taking
There are
money
four
out.
states. There are 4 states in the union that have, to me, grossly misused 911 funds. In other words, a state might sweep the surplus fund in order to pay off the debt of the state on all kinds of other issues. We've been hearing, and the accountability thing, I fully agree with us having to be accountable to the state on the allocation of our funds. I get that. But the background story is that somebody in this state, and we're trying to identify who, but we've been told time and time again that somebody in this state is using 911 money to buy fire trucks and squad cars. This argument comes up and is tossed in our face time and time and time again. We cannot find a 911 system that's buying fire trucks and squad cars. So it's the accountability I agree with, but the argument falls flat. So we just have to understand what's being said that's quasi-true, what's being said that is true. It is a fact. The FCC report came out with it. In fact, if you I think it's italicized on the bottom of what Steve's been putting out. If you look at that FCC report, we're one of 4 states where the state sweeps funds in order to pay off state debt. That is a gross mismanagement of 911 allocated funds. That has to stop because it makes us ineligible for federal grants in the future.
Well, and that's why Senator Harmon had came out, which I thought was brilliant. I just told Nick, this is gonna be my new word, uniform accounting. So this money, these dollars that are being allocated are definitely gonna be accounted for. And I think that what in turn goes with what you were saying about this being able to back up for the grants, of showing how these dollars are being
Absolutely.
used. I think it's genius of how they're doing it. This whole bill, like I said, is really, at the end of the day, they're just trying to figure out where these dollars, where they've been going with the ICC, getting it over to the 911, which is well deserved, and then over to that 2 cents that's going over to
Sure,
the-
and I hope they put the poison control folks under the same scrutiny that they put us under, because...
Oh, they're all gonna be audited. Everyone's gonna have...
Understood, but also keep in mind that the Poison Control Center is getting $1.3 million grant from Illinois Department of Public Health.
No, they don't know about any of those. They don't know any of the other dollars of where they're
If you look at the history, traditionally IDPH
Oh,
gets
traditionally, yeah.
about 1.3. There's a bill which I think is going to pass. They're going to get another 1.3 again. This year, they've already had something signed by President Obama for the 54 poison control centers countrywide to get $30 million. There's revenue streams that they get from
There's
chemical
nothing that's been
companies.
confirmed. You're talking all hearsay. There's
I've
nothing
got
that-
I've got documents from HCRC that shows exactly where their dollars come from and how they go out,
That is what
including
they're-
severance
that's what they're
packages
hoping.
for their.
Same with this. This is hope. We're all hoping for
Yeah.
this. This is nothing is in stone.
Well, the stuff that is in stone is the financial stuff coming from the mother agency of the Poison Control Center. Those reports are out there.
So if, I mean, I know there's legislation's not done, those done.
Right.
But the concept of 2 cents for pollution, or poison control, increase of that, instead of going to ICC, coming to 911, and I think it was 1 cent for the ICC.
No,
That's out?
That's
That's out? Well,
I'm
that's
not
just-
sure where that concept is. It's not that,
Wasn't that in
it's-
one of these bills? I thought-
right, when there is another proposal where
4230.
911 ICC gets 1 cent of the take to run the ICC.
Yeah.
That, I've heard that might be floated up to 2 cents.
But I guess the
There's
point
all
is,
kinds of
if
things
there's
floating
any
around.
money taken out of this fund, are you saying, from your experience, and you know more than I do, does that make us stable as far as the feds are concerned?
The allocation and the rules that the Federal Communications Commission uses is the stability of the fund, meaning if it's swept and used for other purposes,
I
it's not.
understand.
Now, if it's allocated for a penny to help run and regulate 911,
Which
I don't think anybody would argue that that's an appropriate use of
They
that.
oversee ETSBs,
Right, when they see surplus funds that are allocated and earmarked for 911 that the carriers have opted not to need because most of the carriers are flush. They know how to do wireless 911. They're built out. They don't need that money anymore. We were saying to shift that and allocate that to the operation of 911 centers. Well, everybody sees that money and they start getting a little antsy about it. I think it's inappropriate to shift it to poison control, but that's my opinion. I think we need to try to capture as much of the 73 cents as we can so we can do what we need to do here. And again, 75 cents has been kicked around. It used to be 75 cents. In 2005 or 2008, it got knocked down from 75 to 73. I don't know the history behind that or why that was done. But there's a lot to it.
The money that's been talked about from the Obama administration, is that formula money? Is that grant
It's
money?
competitive grants. And
So Illinois is going to have to compete for those dollars.
No, Illinois received about $900,000 from the feds.
I think it's a formula.
Well, is it competitive or formula? Formula means you
Formula,
get it.
formula of 54 centers across the country. It was signed in January by the
So
president.
Illinois is going to
And
get
Illinois
it.
share was about $800,000 or $900,000.
So they're going to, the Illinois Poison
As
Control
far as I know, they
Center.
already have that.
Yeah, they're getting 900,000 from the president. They
Is
get
that
1.3 from
one time?
IDPH, and now they're looking
Is
for
that
2
one
cents.
time? or
It's
is it-
annually, and he's been doing it every year. This was for this year. There's no guarantee for next year, but it's...
So we're looking at 2 different budgets, because there is nothing of that they were guaranteed. And I know for a fact that for them, that they were coming in and looking at a month ago, they do not receive, they will close. They do not receive this.
And
So-
when we've got 911 centers that need to close too.
You know,
If they take the money, we have 911 centers that might close.
This money was not in
But
the
we
pot
weren't getting this money in
originally.
the
This
first
was
place,
not,
were
we
we?
did not have this budget.
We haven't
for
been
it.
getting this money.
We haven't getting it.
The money set aside by the wireless carriers, big and small, for them to use to replace and upgrade their equipment or the correct equipment for their users. And there's about $14 million that can be put in this fund. The two biggest wireless carriers, AT&T and Verizon, don't dip out of that fund to reimburse themselves, so that money is
And it's
large.
being swept.
So the small wireless carriers in the state, and there's 250-some telephone companies in the state of Illinois, have claims of about $8 million that have been unpaid by the state legislature for their claims to that fund. Typically, when those claims are paid and then there's an excess, that excess entirely goes to 911. So 4, 5, 6 years ago, we were getting $400,000 a year, $500,000 a year out of that fund. Then the fund sweep started, not to the ICC, but to the General Assembly. And so when the fund swept, we didn't get anything. The small wireless carriers didn't get anything, and the money was just swept, which put us in unstable mode with the federal government, and nobody got anything. So now the thought is, if we've got this silo of money, and it's being swept, nobody gets anything. So
Right.
And Steve's
we don't
been
get.
reporting to the board annually every year about
Oh,
the
yeah.
money that's
Sweep-
lost.
Right.
So
So we don't
We did that.
So we don't get anything. The small wireless carriers don't get anything. Poison control doesn't get anything. Nobody gets anything if they sweep the funds.
Right.
So with Senator Harmon's bill, it's sort of a compromise, saying, look, it's better get something than nothing. So maybe we take a few cents from that silo, and poison control takes a few cents from that silo. Maybe the ICC gets another penny, and we just take what we've got and get rid of the silo so that it can't be swept. And it's not where we're, 4 years ago we got all the money. Now we're not going to get all the money, but we're going to get some money, and some money is probably better than nothing. So there's people who want to keep the silo in place and hope that we get it all, it's not swept, and there's people who are saying, no, we have to compromise and keep it from being swept. And that's really what it's all about.
Well, this bill also, and the whole thing of relinquishing of getting these dollars and for 911, and what I have found, going from 57 cents to 68 cents, is really where Senator Harmon's goal is. So
It's going to
that's,
put about $9 more million into the state 911 systems to be sorted out by each of the systems. So.
Is there an attorney at general opinion on whether or not 911 funds can even go for poison control? Like, is anybody?
Under the federal law, the poison control must be designated as enhancing or assisting in 911 in order for the funds to be used. And so some piece of legislation is going to have to designate poison control as an assist or enhancement to 911 so that the surcharge fund can properly.
I haven't seen a bill to that effect yet.
It's going to have to come in somewhere.
It's coming.
And poison control understands that is in all of their literature and research, that at some point they're going to have to do that because the federal law does require it to be designated as an enhancement to 911.
Which is ironic too, because the FCC's definition of enhancement has nothing to do with the call handling, it has to do with technology. Meaning display of antennae or location services or things like that. That's what the federal government describes and defines as an enhancement. It's not, because the thing is, where does it stop? But we could have home health care dipping out of that fund because we can prevent ambulance calls going to someone who needs lift assistance out of bed. I mean, where does it stop? And again, we're shifting from public health to public safety, which is not the role, in my opinion, of poison control. I mean, I look at their blog site too, and I don't see any calls coming from a 911 center to the poison control for a referral.
and you know what, that's too bad.
Yeah,
You know how much could be
It's
prevented
relevant
of having
for
the ambulance come? And instead of that could be
Yeah, if
so,
somebody calls us for an ambulance, Suzanne, and we call poison control instead of sending them an ambulance and they die, do you understand the liability there?
but the amount of people that could
Poison control is
chalked
irrelevant in
down
911
instead of
centers.
going out to, I mean, I just think there's other way. I'm sorry. There is way, there is of being able, like, the mass amount of percentage of people that could just be in the unused, talking with Silver Cross and Edwards, of people coming in and it could have been chalked down from a tree over the phone from poison control.
Oh, it's a good thing. We're not against posting
Right.
calls.
I'm not against them fundamentally. I find them irrelevant to 911, and I'm not going to change my opinion on that. Probably we should move on.
Okay. The other bill I wanted to point out, and 2 years in a row now, Will County representatives that have been very successful in passing at least some benefit to 911, that's Senate Bill 3313 from Senator Bertino Tarrant. She just started with a phone call a few months back. There was some stories about a child at a hotel or motel needing to call 911 for an ill parent, and there was some confusion because they had to either dial 8 or 9 before dialing 911. And so they'll force the hotels and motels and other businesses that if you pick up a phone, you dial 911, it will go through as a 911 call. So that got passed in the Senate unanimously, and I believe it's going to be acted upon, if not already, by the House. So we do have 2 feathers in our cap last year with the directory for 911 centers and this one for dialing. So I think that's all I wanted to cover in the long-range plan. Our next meeting is also in June, and we're hoping to be able to report. And if we hear anything else with the May 1 deadline looming, we'll try to push out whatever information we can glean for the other Senate bills. So.
June 11th, to be exact, and I'm changing my vacation this month.
We appreciate it.
11:30. I got it down. I will not. I know exactly where it's at, Joe.
And that concludes my report.
It does.
Well, unless you want to.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I mean, there's.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Moving on to Personnel and Education Committee. Tom?
A, Will County TSB reappointments already handled and sworn in. B, Will County TSB Board Chair and Vice Chair nominations already done. Congratulations. Thank you for your service. C, TSB members leaving the board. We wish Joe Pena and Mary Jo Seehausen the best of luck and thank them. The National Telecommunicator Appreciation Week activities already handled. Congratulations to all of them. E, 901 Administrative Staff Merit Increases, Fiscal Year 2014 updates. Steve.
So part of the salary package for the staff this year was a health care stipend, a one-time stipend, a 2.5% merit increase, and a cost of living increase, and then a merit increase. And so the staff managers and our operations manager, Dale, and I created a format for doing merit. We didn't want to see merit become just, you all do a great job, so you're all going to get 1.5%. We wanted to get some really opportunity for acknowledging good performance and acknowledging better performance. We reported back to the Personnel Committee that the average merit increase was 1.09%. It could be anywhere from 0 or 0.25 to 1.5. We were hoping to keep it about 1.0. The cost of that was $9,960. And now we're establishing goals and performances for the rest of the year for the staff.
All right, the Chief Administrator's contract, the language is being cleaned up. We'll keep Personnel Committee apprised as we go, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it to this board at the June 21st meeting. Help desk ticket update, Steve or Dale?
Right now, we're working, if you guys have gone to the help desk recently, mainly on the record side, you see a lot of new categories. Had each one of the managers from their categories look at their categories in the help desk, and we're trying to clean up and also add categories so it's not ambiguous when you go in there. Also, you guys should see more responses to your help desk tickets, even if it's just that we're still waiting on a vendor or we're waiting on someone to take care of it. There should be regular contact with the PSAP directors and the agencies who put in help desk. So it's ongoing. We're working on the tree for the phone. We understand that the board would wish to have one number for everyone to call for non-emergency and emergency. So we're trying to test to see how that's going to work as we go through different opinions and options on how that number should be divvied out.
All right, as mentioned earlier, the Will County Chiefs of Police have 2 seats, and with the retirement of Joe Pena, I created a vacancy. Chief Aaron Kleinman from Shorewood PD was nominated at the last school committee's meeting, by Joe Pena to take that seat, and seconded by John McDowell, and it was unanimous. So hopefully, after county board approval, Chief Klima will be available in June to be sworn. Training committee meeting date, Steve?
The training committee is going to meet. I don't have the date yet, but they will be meeting shortly to discuss any issues on training for our PTCs.
And then lastly, discussion on compensation for 911 system public education.
So we have a small core of public educators from our PSAPs. Not all the PSAPs are able to engage in that. And so what we're looking to do is to open up a little bit more and to seek and certify public educators for 911 from the PSAPs on their off days outside of the PSAPs, so that we're not competing with time that they have inside the PSAP. And we'll have a proposal for you at the June meeting.
Thank you. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, June 11th at 12 p.m. Thank you, Ms. Murphy.
Thank you. I have one question though. Do we need a motion to do the NPEF registration for takeover for, you know how we agreed in committee we were going to do something? Oh, it's in finance? I'm sorry.
I think you got it.
Moving on. It involved money, so it can be in. Yes. Thank you.
As it should be.
Moving on to finance and equipment, that's me. Finance and Equipment Committee has reviewed the enclosed claims for February 2014 in the amount of negative $49,768.26. We made money in February. March 2014 of $882,882.
I'll make the motion to receive and place on file the approval of the Will County Treasurer's Report, receipts and expenditures month ending March 2014 with a cash balance of $2,599,463.52, and the February 2014 and March 14 list of counties paid invoices by GL distribution report.
Seconded, Ross.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Pam Luzan,
Yes.
Harold Dameron,
Aye.
Suzanne Hart,
Yes.
William Moore,
Yes.
John McDowell,
Yes.
Nick Palmer,
Yes.
Julie Ponce Doyle,
Yes.
Joe Pena,
Yes.
Steve Router,
Aye.
Tom Ross,
Yes.
Mike Shea,
Yes.
Andy Thuringer,
Yes.
and Brad German.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Did he miss you?
Yeah. I don't yes.
I'm sorry, Kim.
I was just going to tell him about what a good job he was doing. in
And
here.
Kim,
Yeah.
listen, just before we go on,
His evaluation's coming up next month?
I don't know, Bo.
they are, but there's somebody missing today, and it's very obvious. And yesterday was National Professional Assistance Secretary's Day, and I acknowledged that before Karen left. Karen's taking a road trip with her daughter back to California. It's well deserved. It's a great opportunity for mother-daughter bond. I think they're outside of Texas and headed for New Mexico today. She couldn't be here, but she did an awful lot of work to get me organized. Obviously, I'm doing the best I can, but we need to acknowledge that the work she does do, and you can see how terribly
So she's going to listen to this tape. This is taped. So
she'll hear this.
I want to hoop now. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Woo! Okay.
So thank you for putting up with my secretarial capabilities.
You're doing very well, Steve. Considering everything that we've had to do so far today, yes, you're doing well. Kim forgives you. Moving on, the next is the I-1 license reimbursement request. We have a request from South Chicago Heights Fire Department for 1 I-1 license, and the City of Joliet Fire Department for 2 I-1 licenses.
Make that motion as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Previous roll.
All those in favor of previous roll?
Aye.
Next item is the renewal of annual hardware and software contracts. We reviewed all of these renewals in F&E, and they were previously reviewed in technology as well. The first one is the Harris maintenance contract for $83,055.82.
Motion is presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mike Shea.
Previous roll.
Second.
Second for previous roll, Steve. All those in favor of previous roll?
Aye.
Just tell me if I'm going too
You're
fast.
fine.
Next item is the HP nonstop server contract.
Motion is presented.
Thank you,
Second.
Brad. Second, Joe.
Previous,
Previous, Bill.
Shay.
Shay for second for previous. All those in favor of previous?
Aye.
Next item is the Motorola PSAP maintenance contracts. Joliet, 23,000 and change. Romeoville, 15,000 and change. Stager, 9,000 and change, which is just for their back room since they've closed. Westcott, 7,000.
Motion is presented. Brad.
Second, third,
Previous roll. Shay. Second, Mort.
All those in favor of previous roll?
Aye.
Next item is the Sentinel maintenance contract for 89,000.
Motion is presented. Brad. Second, Shay.
previous roll, third, second, Suzanne.
All those in favor of previous roll?
Aye.
Good thing this is on tape. Next thing is the insurance premium. Steve, can you speak to that briefly?
Sure. Our annual premium came up last month. We saw a 40% increase from $9,900 to $13,900. I've been trying to keep it under $10,000 for the last 4 or 5 years, and we had a flood last year with a large claim, and so I knew we wouldn't be able to maintain that. We also increased or adjusted the property coverage for the 3 data centers to $500,000, and we added not only the board but the employees to general liability coverage. And so our total property blanket right now is 2.8. So if we lost one facility during a major incident, our total coverage for that facility would be $2.8 million. So we're well covered. We'll try and work with them again next year after we don't have any claims this year to lower the amount again. So.
Motion as presented. Brad.
Thank you, Brad.
Second, Shay.
Second, Shay.
Previous, Mort.
Previous, Mort. Second for previous, Harold. All those in favor of previous roll?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is the Motorola console upgrade at Lincoln Way PSAP. Dale, you want to just mention what happened?
Yeah, the final design review for Lincoln Way, they're configured a little bit different than the rest of our centers, as none of their radio connections actually come into their facility.
You're different than everyone else.
But trying to tell you guys that for years. I've noticed. We have
So to accomplish that, we had to do some design review, add some equipment, and at the end of the day, with returning some equipment we didn't need and adding some equipment and some labor, at $26,386.43 is what the difference is to basically place the connections for the radio consoles out at where his RF resources are.
Thank you. Is there any questions about this item?
I motion.
Motion, Mort.
Second, Shay.
Second, Shay.
Previous roll, Thuringer.
Pena for second for previous roll. All those in favor of previous roll?
Aye. Thank you.
We'll take it out of your surcharge next 10 years if we...
The next item is the intergovernmental agreement with Kane County ETSB. Steve, please.
So there's an area of land in Will County that sits within the city of Aurora. It's primarily empty or farmland at this point. It does have about 1,200 service lines going into it. The area's been is provided 911 service is provided through Kane County ETSB. Police and fire and EMS services are handled by the city of Aurora. We have an emergency service number assigned to it. Since it's in Will County, we've been receiving the wireless surcharge funds for those 1,190 service lines over the years. Kane County ETSB from time to time has said, gee, we should try and fix this. I said, sure, anytime you want. And now they decided it's a good time. So they worked with and their attorney, which is John. We came up with an intergovernmental agreement, which is very similar to all the other intergovernmental agreements we have with agencies where we have duplicate or co-services. They are, their surcharge is 50 cents instead of our 75, so we'll still be able to keep 25 cents per line on the service charge. And once a year, we'll go ahead and cut a check to them for those surcharges for those lines should be around $7,000 a year.
Thank you.
Any motion to?
Thank you.
Second, Shay. Previous, Moore.
Second, previous.
All those in favor of previous roll?
Aye.
Next item is consideration of a donation to the 911 National Public Educators Forum.
So I think you all know, but we're being honored by being asked to host the 2014 National Public Educators Forum. That's based on the work that Karen does, and again, the public educators from the PCAPs. It's been held in Texas for the last 3 or 4 years. They'll be coming to Naperville July 20th to the 23rd. Typically, the board doesn't pay for conference registration other than staff members and board members. And since we're being the host for it, we were asking permission to offer a one-time paid registration for up to 2 members from each PSAP. We also felt that, or we knew that with every conference there's fees behind the scene that have to take place that aren't always covered by full registration. There's things that we like to do for the people coming in from different parts of the country to welcome them to our area. They'll have over 100, probably over 120 coming from as far away as Alaska to be here to see what we're doing with 911 education. So we're being showcased. So we also asked if the board would consider providing some form of financial support to the group. They had a wish list of everything from buses to their welcome pizza dinner. They're using for corporate sponsorships to solicit the extra funds. And the committee looked through the list, and they saw that we didn't really want to do food, and we didn't want to get involved in transportation and entertainment. We want to keep it focused on a conference. And so the committee thought that sponsoring the AV equipment for each day would be really important. You can't run a conference without the AV equipment. And it's fairly expensive each day. It's about $1,000 some every day. So the committee is asking the board to approve sponsoring the AV equipment for all the days of the conference, not to exceed $4,576. And then the other motion is to cover conference registration for 2 registrations for a total of 14.
And I just want to mention too that it was the committee's feeling that it would come out of the budget line item for conferences, and that we have adequate money in that budget line item, as not many of us are attending national conference this year.
The motion is presented. Second, Shay. Previous, Moore.
Second for previous?
We're good.
That's for the first one. I
That's for
need it again for the
registration.
second
I
one?
need that again.
For the AV.
So move, Shay.
Second.
Previous, Kenya. Second for previous, Moore. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
For both.
For both.
For
Yes.
both.
Any additional comments by anybody? Yes, Bill?
Just a couple quick minutes. I know we're soon to be embarking on the training everyone for the new systems. And on the police side, I know I talked to one of the 911 staffers, asking them if we could at least, as soon as available, see the training manual for the police record side from Motorola prior to the 5 days of training schedule. We really haven't seen a lot of the records management. We've seen a little bit of the CAD and some demonstrations, but I think it's important because I only get to send a limited number of people to come back and train our people. Different concept than 10 years ago when the new system was done. So any consideration of getting the training manuals to the trainers first, and also the possibility of seeing if we can maybe use GoToMeeting to film that as it's going on, so remotely some people can look at it and see it and follow it. They can't get in that room. Because I know we've contracted Motorola to do the training, we're not doing it in-house. So I just want to bring those points up to for consideration.
I wish we had thought of asking them to videotape the training and putting that in the training contract initially. This is like, we're as many people as can be in a room. That's part of the contract that we've already signed with them. We're going to have to see what we can do about that. But
Even if we could utilize GoToMeeting, so they could follow along with that, that may be a way.
None of us are in disagreement with that.
We are
Try
working
to-
on videotaping training sessions so they'll be available. Although you're right, they won't be as easily understood if you're not sitting with a monitor in front of you. But we are working with Motorola, have those videotaped. And we don't have the training manuals either, so.
Well,
when we
it's just
get them-
something I know it's gonna come
When we
up.
get them, we'll do it. The whole concept of training is based on train the trainer. We're gonna train key people from each PSAP and count on them to go back to their agencies and their PSAP to train. We've got 200 telecommunicators and thousands of fire and police. We can't do it, so it's gotta be done by everybody across the county, so we do intend to try and videotape what we can, and as soon as we have anything available, we'll try and get out.
Well, and I'm just bringing up, I know a lot of the concepts we use, you know, some agency, I mean, we use GoToMeeting to follow along and do PowerPoint, and I don't know if the program would be available from station, like my station, for somebody to follow along, they can't be in the environment 911. I'm still gonna have my allocated bodies that are gonna be trainers, but, you know, I can't imagine how the city and the county and agencies like Bolingbrook with massive guys coming back and train our people, anything, I mean, it's gonna
I think
be.
it's safe to say that there's a certain level of anxiety for.
There is, yes, we'll agree on that. I just wanted to make those points.
But we're all in it together.
Yes, we are.
And the classroom restrictions aren't ours.
No, I understand that.
Those are in place by the Motorola, they can only allow so many people in the class.
I understand that. Just seeing if whatever we can do to make the transition as simple as we
We're gonna
can.
keep doing
Well,
it.
you know me, I've asked for books, I don't know how many times. I need a book.
I know you're not gonna
I need a
stop.
book.
No, and as soon as we have.
And you know
these,
me, I'm not gonna stop.
We'll get it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
If there's
Take a
cupcakes,
cupcake on the way out if there's any cupcake. Motion to adjourn, please? So moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's appropriate, Joe did it.